crafters, today we're going to do a card using the New Horizon Suite bundle from the catalog. And the products that we will be using are the On the Horizon stamp set, which includes 9 different images. As well, we are going to be using the matching Horizons dies. So with this die set, you can create die cuts of the fence, grass, and there's mountains, there's trees, and there's also a row of houses. So if you are planning to create the cards that I'll be showing you today, the best way to buy this, of course, is in a bundle, because if you buy the bundle, you do save 10% off of both of them. So that's a bonus. We're also going to be using the New Horizons 6x6 designer series paper. And these Horizon scenes were hand painted by one of Stampin' Up's talented artists. And they're like tranquil watercolor imagery. And they're great as backgrounds. They're great for really, really fast cards. For example, this, you don't really need to do anything on here except cut it to the size of your card because everything is already there. You've got your landscape. You might want to add a greeting, and then you're good to go. And the other thing that I like about it is it's so versatile. You can turn the paper upside down and change the sky to water. So now it's water. And really, it's just whatever your imagination takes you to. You can make so many different projects using this beautiful paper. And of course, as always, they're all double-sided. So great images on the back side as well. So we will be using this in today's video, and I will show you 5 different cards. The first card, of course, we're going to be making is this one. But stay tuned to the very end because I will show you 4 more. So you will be seeing 5 different projects. So the first one we'll be doing is this one, and what we're going to need, of course, to make this card are your base card, which is Misty Moonlight, which is 8.5 by 11 that I cut in half to make 8.5 by 5.5, and you fold that in half. Then you have your white and olive layers, and the measurements are on the screen. We're going to create our image on the white, and then we're going to layer that over the old olive layer. And the dies we're going to need are 1 of the fence and 2 of the grass. And I cut out 2 of these. Now this here cutout or die is actually this one here. It's supposed to be a wooden plank, but what I did was I've taken it. If you see here, this is it. You would ordinarily stamp this image and cut it out, but I used it and I cut it out from here from the paper, and I'll show you why. And then of course the bottom grass is I cut out 2 of them from the bottom of the paper using this die. And then to do the fence, this here, I stamped the wooden plank stamp using soft suede ink on crumb cake, so you can see the design on that. And then I cut it out with the die, the fence die, to create this aged looking fence. Very realistic. And now I'll show you how I put the card together. Using Misty Moonlight, I'm going to take my blending brush and just add a soft layer of blue to the center of my card so that it looks like this. And then after I've done that, you add, using Evening Evergreen, I add the image of the grass just over top of the blue, like so. And then it's time to add the 2 die cuts that you have cut out of the designer series paper. Don't forget to use your craft sheet to protect your surface. I'm just going to add the first one just right underneath the grass like that. And then I'm going to add my die cutouts of the grass underneath here. Like, I haven't realized it yet, but this is actually incorrect because I want the grass to be on top of the fence, and I haven't added the fence yet. So I'll show you what I did later to fix that. Notice that I'm only adding glue to the left side of the grass, the taller bits of grass, and I'm leaving one side open here because I don't want the grass glued down. I want to be able to add more of my cutout to fit underneath like that. So I'm just playing around trying to see what I need to cut out so it fits perfect like a puzzle. Cut out a little bit more from the bottom, and then I'm going to add that underneath the grass using my tweezers to align it perfectly where I want it. And then once that's where I want it to go, then I can go ahead and add my glue to the other side of the grass and hold it down like that. And this is where I realize I need to put the fence first, and I'll show you what I did. I added some more blue just to the bottom there to make it less white. And here's what I did. I just pulled the grass out. It wasn't dry enough yet, so I was able to pull it out, and then I add my fence underneath. And what I want to do is just kind of curl it a little bit so it looks like the fences that you see on the beach where they're kind of bowed like that and not flat. I add the dimensionals just to the center 2 pickets. Using my scissors, I just cut out a really narrow strip, and I add the right size and width of dimensional behind each picket so that it doesn't show through. And I'm only going to add glue to the last and first picket because I only want the picket fence to adhere to my layer on either end, and then also on the 2 middle pickets where I've added the dimensional. And that creates that realistic look of how the pickets would actually show on the beach. Once that's down on my card, I can then add glue to the back of my grass, and there you see how the pickets look kind of rounded. And I just go ahead and add the glue to the back of my grass and press it over top of the fence to create my final beach scene like that. So now we're going to do our greeting on the bottom. I use Misty Moonlight, and I've chosen the Thanks for Everything greeting from this set. Stamp that on the bottom. And then last but not the least, we're going to do the seagulls on the top. So make sure that they're in the right direction, because believe it or not, once I stamped seagulls upside down, so they were flying drunk in the sky. So just random images there, however you want it. There we go. And then last but not the least is we're going to put our card together. So this will be layered onto our old olive layer. Like so. And then we're gonna go ahead and glue this onto our card base, which is Misty Moonlight. And you have a beautiful card that you could give to a man or a woman. So it's kind of, this set really lends itself to masculine cards. I think it also would be really nice for sympathy cards. So there's the first card that we've done. I have 4 other cards to show you, but I also want to show you, before I show you the rest of the cards, I want to show you, this is one of the cards that I'm going to be showing you at the end. But this here is part of the paper, and if you can see, I kind of mimicked it behind the fence there. And I just used some stamps to create something similar to this because I wanted it to be on here as well, but the actual paper didn't have it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So this was the paper that I used to create this card, and I want to show you what I did to create this design on the top. So basically what I did was I took my evening evergreen to stamp the grass. If you can see the grass, I stamped right around here. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that right there. So now you see it. And then to create these little flowers here in Fresh Freesia and Bumblebee, I used a stamp from the Blossoms in Bloom stamp set. Let me grab that. Okay, so this is the Blossoms in Bloom stamp set, and I just used this little flower here to create what looks like. This has a matching die as well. You can see how well loved it is. It's been used so many times. So this little die here, oops, the little flower die, so cute and dainty. We are going to use that and I want to add the image of flowers right on top of this grass here, and I do it in Fresh Freesia as well as Bumblebee. So let's do the Fresh Freesia first. Again, I'm trying to mimic this. So go ahead and grab your Fresh Freesia ink, and I'm just randomly tapping everywhere. I'm not even thinking what I'm doing. I'm just adding what looks like flowers, or really they look like blobs, but don't forget they're going to be behind the fence. So it's just like an illusion that you want to show that looks like this. So there you see some of the Fresh Freesia flowers, and then we're going to do the same, but this time we're using Bumblebee ink. So pick up your Bumblebee ink, and now you're just tapping randomly over top of the Fresh Freesia to create this. So it kind of looks like this. You're just trying to mimic that on a higher part of your scenery, because I want to put my picket fence here like that, and see, now I have this exact, or not exact, but similar to this over top of here. It kind of ties the picture all together. So that's how I made this card. I will show you some other cards now that I made using this stamp set on the horizons as well as the horizons die. So here I will show you all the cards I made using the paper and the stamp sets, the On the Horizon stamp set and the horizon paper. So this is the one we just did. I did a couple. One says thanks for everything, one says thinking of you. So very easy. I showed you how to do that. And then I did this one that I showed you as well. And the paper that I used was this paper. I just cut it into a smaller size, layered it into Fresh Freesia. My base is Garden Green. There you go. And the greeting that I used was just very simple. I chose Breathe from the stamp set and cut it out into the exact same size of the greeting so it doesn't take up so much room. And then I did this card here, which is one of the easier ones, because all this is, guys, is the pattern paper that I cut. There's nothing else that I did except stamp wishing you so much happiness, and then the seagulls. Boom, you're done so fast. So this one here uses this paper, and you can tell this here is, you can see it there. I did sponge a little bit more of Old Olive on the bottom to cover some of these white areas, and then on the top I sponged a little bit of Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie to mimic a sunset. And I did a sun using a circle punch, and all I did was I cut out the circle punch from plain white photocopy paper, put it on my project, sponged a little bit of Daffodil Delight with a little bit of pumpkin pie on the side here, so there's a nice shading. Stamped the greeting, some seagulls, and these here are just the die cuts of the trees. And then there's a little house there that I did in gray, basic gray cardstock, and that's from the row of houses. So that's another card using this New Horizons suite. And then last card I'm going to show you is this one, and this is the paper that I used. So I cut it right around here. You can see a little bit of the pale papaya still here. I stamped the grass in Evening Evergreen as well as the greeting. And then on the top, I stamped the trees in Evening Evergreen, and I did some mountains. And those mountains are done using these two dies. So these are the mountains, and this is some detailing on the mountains that will cut out just this portion of the image on the top there. So I stamped it, I cut out an Evening Evergreen, and then I sponged a little bit more of Evening Evergreen, because this actual layer here that cuts out the outline, I cut out in basic white, and I just dyed it with my blending brushes. I blended some ink on there, glued that on top, and then of course on the top I did the same thing with my blending brushes, sponged a little bit of Daffodil Delight and pumpkin pie to simulate a sunset. Did my cutout of the circle, put it on my paper, blended some Daffodil Delight with a bit of pumpkin pie on the side there to create the sun and a sunset scene. So these are all the cards that I made. I will put them in camera view again. Here's the 5 of them. So this is a beautiful, there we go. And I shall just pan the cards so you can see how beautiful they are and how easy it is to make cards using the Horizons paper, the stamp set, and the dies. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope I've inspired you to create today. Take out your inks and paper and make a card. Please subscribe to my blog if you haven't yet. The subscribe button is in the bottom right hand side. Give me a like and follow, and if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada yet, I'd be happy to help you. All my information and the link to my blog is in the description. Fire off some questions if you have any. Comment, and I will definitely get back to you and answer all your questions. Thanks for watching, everyone.